Welcome to something a little different for my channel. This is a green caravan. It's not supposed to be green. It's been sat for 4 years in a barn with no roof on my father's land. It belonged to the community for a while, used as a mobile base whilst people from the community used it to work around the local town. You can see here it's had many years worth of just sitting out in the weather. Something definitely tried to nest in that wheel cover, I'm sure. We also don't have the keys for this caravan. They've gone missing, so you will see a few things where I can't open windows or doors to get around into some of the tighter dirt trap areas, but I'll do my very best with my pressure washer and a selection of chemicals and tools to get this looking a little bit nicer. Those squiggly marks you see on the side, I'm actually thinking they are likely snail trails or slug trails. This is the front of the caravan, which was the furthest away from the sun. This was northeast facing, and you can see all manner of grot, grime, moss, lichen and mould growing all over this thing. I am going to have my work cut out for me today. This is the other side of the caravan, which was exposed to the sun, and you can see there's a big difference there. Nowhere near the same level of grime. Eldis, a very well-known name in the caravan world. This is the Typhoon XL 1000, and I will do my very best to try and get this looking a little bit more respectable. So first, I've got a pre-treatment going on here. This is a commercial grade all-purpose cleaner degreaser, which I am applying very liberally with my pump sprayer to every part of the caravan where possible. Everywhere that's got some sort of grime, grot, mould or something else growing in it, I am attacking it. This is hopefully going to help eat into and release some of that grime. I'm then covering it with a coating of a snow foam. This snow foam is from Mirror Image Car Care. This is their Igloo snow foam. It has some cleaners itself, but it's mainly being used here as something to wet down the caravan, to allow it to soak, and to allow the all-purpose cleaner not to dry out, to keep it wet. And this will be left for 5 minutes before coming back. Now, using the pressure washer, I've got a Nilfisk C120. I have a variable angle nozzle on the end of it, which allows me to adjust how wide or narrow the fan of the jet is, and I will be adjusting it over time to allow me to get the right pressure onto the caravan. I don't want to go too harsh, but I do want to make sure that I can push this grime off, and you can see here it is definitely working. That moss in the bottom needs a little bit of encouragement, going slower and allowing that pressure to blast it out. I am trying here to clean the caravan as contactlessly as possible. I don't want to have to scrub it, but I do want to try and get as much grime off beforehand, just in case I do need to scrub it. I have to admit, this was very satisfying to see. It was really nice to know that the pre-treatment that I used was very effective at helping to break down some of that grime and get it off the caravan. Little areas like this rail, which would hold an awning, was full of grime, and you can see that being blasted out and onto the camera lens. This is not a quick process, it is something which took time time. I think overall I spent nearly 4 hours on the Caravan just trying to get it cleaned up as best I can. I'm using the knowledge and experience that I have obtained over the years of making car care and detailing videos to help me with the right tools and products to attack this and clean it up as much as possible. This is definitely something I would do as far as car care is concerned. A very good pre-wash and pre-rinse is very important. But later on, I will not be using absolutely everything on the Caravan that I would use on the car. This is not a proper painted surface. I'm not really worried about scratches and swirl marks, so I am going at this maybe slightly more aggressively than I would were this my own car. And here I wanted to rinse off the snow foam, mainly because I wanted to see how much dirt I will be removing. Not just dirt, but all of this grime and mould and growth. Leaving the snow foam on there is one thing, but to be able to take it off and actually see how much grime is there helps me to know how much work I actually have to do. But it's not a necessity. As long as the snow foam is still wet, you can leave it on there. If you're working in a warm, sunny day, you don't want snow foam to dry out because that can cause issues as far as leaving marks behind, perhaps even some staining in some situations. So be careful, be mindful of the weather if you're going to be doing this. You'll also notice I can change the angle that the nozzle is pointing in. This is really handy for when I reach upwards because I can still spray downwards. It would have been easier if I had remembered my lance extension, but I didn't, so I had to make do with what I had. You may see some tape marks there on the bodywork between the two windows. That is from posters that had been used when this was being used as a community base of operations. They clearly had some posters or something stuck up on the side of the Caravan there, and they didn't remove the tape properly. So there still are some marks. If I had brought some tar and glue remover with me, that would have probably cleaned those up. But at the moment I'm just trying to give it a clean and a scrub and an overall general improvement. Now on the back end here, I did not give it any kind of pre-treatment. I wanted to find out how much I could actually remove from the bodywork here without any kind of chemical preparation. I'll be honest, it wasn't as easy. The grime there left more behind than I was used to with the pre-treated area, as you can see, especially below that metal lip. So this clearly isn't cutting the mustard. So after removing as much as I could and figuring out this test section, I did realise I am going to have to treat it. So the same as before, the all-purpose cleaner, soaking, softening, eating, getting into that grime to make it easier to remove. It really is a small amount of effort here which really improves the speed and efficiency of your pressure washing. Another coat of snow foam, and it gets to sit for 5 minutes to dwell before coming back with the pressure washer. And here I was definitely able to remove more of the grime that had been left over with the original attack. I was able to go over areas that I'd gone over before and remove more stuff. So don't overlook this step. Whether it's cleaning your car, your caravan, your van, boat, anything you're trying to clean. If you give it a pre-treatment, you will get better results. The grime will come off quicker, with less effort, and you'll leave less grime behind. And if you see any marks, any grime left behind, those are generally bits and pieces which will not come off. Whether it's something that's actually gone through the surface, or if it's something which has grown into the surface, something which will not come off easily. Like I said, I'm not going for perfection here. I'm just trying an improvement. And honestly, there was still a bunch of stuff left behind at the end of this, but you will see on the end shot. So the front of the Caravan was pre-treated also, but I wanted to rinse it off because this is the greenest side of the Caravan, and I wanted to see exactly what I was going to have to deal with. That is not a pretty sight. And it looks like I'm speeding through this quite quickly because it maybe looks easy. Well, it was actually relatively easy because of that pre-treatment. Really made a massive difference. This stuff did not put up much of a fight. Now you can see those black marks in where the handle should be. Those are growths of moss and lichen which have really gone into the material there, and it's not going to come out easily. I think it would need something very abrasive to help remove those. Perhaps a scourer or something like that. I knew there were going to be bits and pieces I couldn't clean off this, but again, it's an improvement. We're not going for a restoration here. And you can see I was attacking some of these little spots very closely with the pressure washer there to see if I could remove them a bit more. I'm doing as much as I can with the pressure washer before I have to attack it physically. Those window gutters were full of all sorts of grime, leaves, twigs, bits of debris, all sorts of stuff. You can see these really black bits. They didn't come off at all through the whole wash. Some of them could be made a little bit lighter, so the pressure washer was doing something, but there was a limit to how much it could remove. Now this is the cleaner side, and as you can see I gave it a pre-treatment as well. There's not as much grime and dirt to come off here, but there still is a fair bit there. You just don't see it. It's not as obvious as the other greener sides, but you can see there on the top section that there was still some grime and dirt there. So I am still having to clean this side. It's not like it was something I could just avoid and leave it alone. I'm doing the whole Caravan here. Some bits like that cover were very badly stained, and there was really very little I could do with it. That's just staining from all that grime and green growth that's been there for so long. There really wasn't much I could do about it, no matter how hard I attacked it. I was originally planning on standing on the roof and scrubbing it, but pressing down with the pressure washer onto the top, I could see the roof was bowing in. It's really not designed to bear any kind of weight. So I spent a good amount of time up on the ladder on both sides of the Caravan, working along the length of it, just to get as much off the top, but it's really the worst section where things have been allowed to sit for a very long time. Now in the bucket here I have a very heavy duty shampoo, a high alkaline shampoo. It's Garage Therapy's Zero Decon shampoo, and I have a soft bristled sweeping brush there which I'm using to scrub down the Caravan. Like I said, this is a sort of a corrugated surface of the Caravan. It's not something I'm worried about scratches or swirl marks in. I would never use a sweeping brush on a car, but on the Caravan I think this is almost standard practice, using a brush like this or one of those car cleaning brushes that we all hate. I think on a Caravan it's alright, it's allowed. So here I'm just scrubbing it down to try and remove some of the staining. You won't really see much of a difference on camera here, but I could see it as I was scrubbing over. That was helping to remove other marks and just improve that look a little bit more. Now around the windows, because we didn't have the keys, I couldn't open them to get round the edges, so I'm using more all-purpose cleaner and a stiff bristled detailing brush from SGCB to work into the areas where the pressure washer couldn't get enough purchase, and I'm scrubbing around there. You can see a bunch of grime coming out as well. Once we get the keys I'll be able to clean these up properly, but I'm just doing the best I can with what I have. And let's get more water on the camera too. The front end was re-snow foamed and retreated again before going in with a scrubbing brush. I'm really trying to use this as a physical pusher of dirt and grime, just to see if I could get any more dirt off. Now, this front end being the worst affected area, it didn't really show much signs of improvement with the brushing. Like I said, it probably would need something more abrasive to improve that any more. But again, just picking up any bits that I may have missed or anything else that's left over. You can see the top there above the windows where there is still some of those marks from growth that we just can't get rid of, but it is an improvement. Wheels and tyres were given a quick scrub. I could have taken these off, but it would have required unbolting the wheels. It's one of those wheel covers where you have to take the bolts off, and I didn't really want to do that. So I gave it a quick scrub, and then the tyres were given a going over with a wheel brush from SGCB, and that is Auto Glands Rebound Rubber and Tyre Cleaner, just to improve the look a little bit. This is to show that water is sticking to the Caravan. It's completely hydrophilic. It holds on to water. And after applying a spray sealant through the snow foam lance, you can see now water is beading. I didn't get that on camera and I do apologize for that. But you can see water is beading now, and that means that if water is repelling, then some dirt will also be repelling over time. And that's going to try and keep it in a slightly nicer condition, but we'll have a quick walk around now so you can see the final result. This no longer looks like an abandoned countryside caravan, it just looks like an old caravan. Some of the staining I just couldn't get rid of, but I think overall it's a massive improvement. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It's been something a bit different for me. It's been very satisfying to do. If you enjoyed it, please comment, please hit that like button, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.